Hello. Hi, everybody. How are you? My name is Trishna Punjabi, and I am the senior subject matter expert at GMAT. And I'm really happy to be leading this RC Advanced Masterclass. So, this is our fourth session. We have already had sessions on CR and the beginner basic of RC. Before I get started, so this is going to be the last session in our series. So before I get started, I'll just give a brief introduction about myself. I was in your shoes a couple of months ago. I took the GMAT like 6, 7 months ago, and I ended up scoring a V90. And but my initial score when I first started, it was basically like a 395, and I ended up scoring a 715 at the end of it. So I just, like I had this perception that your initial score determines your final score a lot, but that's completely not the case. A really big jump. So just a little disclaimer before we get started onto the session. Yes, one very, very important thing. I want you guys to treat this as a video game, not as a Netflix show. Okay, I want you guys to be very interactive. I want you guys to participate. And before anything, I want to hear from you. Where are you guys from? And what are the top struggles you guys are facing in RC specifically? You can share that while I will quickly go ahead. So for me, the top struggles that I had in RC were specifically in inference questions. When I started out, I could not make out like exactly how do you define the inference and main purpose questions and humanities passages. This was what I used to struggle with the most. And one thing is inference questions, Shivangi. Yeah, absolutely. Same here. So one thing that really helps me, right, is to think of everything. This is like basic the EGMAT approach is taking everything as a process. If you are not following a process-based approach, every new question you're going to have a completely different method. That's why there's going to be inconsistencies. Sometimes the score is up, sometimes the score is down. So in this class, we are going to learn a simple process-based approach for every single question type, starting from inference to purpose question to detail questions. You can actually use the same process everywhere and across business, humanities, economics, what is it? Science. In all of those, you can have this exact same process, and it'll give you the same answers every time. To concentrate continuously on the reading part and retain everything. Okay, thanks, Karan. I think that does happen a lot in probably humanities passages where you tend to get very lost. So our tools are going to be specifically helpful for you. And Aditya, you too, inconsistent accuracy will specifically work on if you're following the same exact process. Okay, so the tools that I'm going to be giving you, these are the tools. Internalize it completely, completely look at it and just use these in every single question that you face. Okay, so Karan, specifically, this addresses the problem that you have, right? You're saying that it's very hard to concentrate continuously. One way to counteract it is strategic pausing. So a lot of times when we read RC, we just read the entire passage and then we're like, got it, let's go to the questions. But the way that we're supposed to do it is we're supposed to pause strategically. At every, there's supposed to be specific checkpoints or speed bumps. At those point of times, you're going to stop and then you're going to ask, what did I read? Completely internalize that, and only when you can answer that, move on. Okay, so these are the tools I want you guys to be using for every single question that we come across in this session. Okay, second, it is the fifth grade synthesis tool. So now what are you supposed to do? So you took a speed bump, you took a pause. What are you supposed to do at that speed bump? You're supposed to ask, how would I explain this to a fifth grader? No jargon, nothing complicated mumbo jumbo. How do I define this in the simplest of terms, so simple that even a fifth grader can understand, but without changing the meaning at all? Okay, so that is what we call the fifth grader test. And then let's get started with one question. Okay, tell me, ethnocentrism and its canonical variants are deemed to be intimately connected to xenophobia. What does this mean, A or B? Let's get started. Tell me, does it mean that they are connected, or does it mean that some people think they are connected? Okay, Karan, you think it's a B. All right, what about the rest of you? Okay, Rishabh, you think it's a B as well? Priyansh B. Okay, so I have gotten 3B so far. So I think you guys got the correct answer actually. It says ethnocentrism and its canonical variants are deemed to be intimately connected. It's just one word, right? But deemed to be changes the entire meaning. Deemed to be means that some people think that they're connected and not that they're actually connected. Very good, Shivangi, Pratik. Great. All of you got the right answer. Awesome. So, uh, okay, so deemed to be means that some people think it is. It's not a fact. Okay. And if you understand this one sentence wrong, what's going to happen is there's going to be a downstream effect. That if you have a question which is kind of like addressing this specific thing, you're going to get it wrong. So this was just a very small example to indicate how important strategic pausing is. You need to know what the meaning actually is before you move on. All right. Who can give me the simplest way to put this? The schismatic in group out group differentiation, in which internal cohesion, relative peace, cordiality, and devotion to the in group are correlated with a sense of hostility towards out groups. So you will have such like scary looking sentences, and they will be those which are actual time suckers. You look at this and you'll be like, okay, you know what? How do I internalize it? This is so much information. What do I do with this? Here, the fifth grader test is helpful. You first look at this entire sentence, break it down to the simplest possible thing that you can. I want to hear from some of you. I'm going to give you guys 30 seconds. I want to see how you guys break this down. And this is going to be incredibly important. If you develop these skills, they are going to be really helpful in dealing with convoluted passages. Just 30 seconds starts now. Fantastic, Karan. Really, really good. Fantastic. There's one more part to this as well. Just one more part to this. What is it? Two groups differentiating various things. Okay, Ankit, can you think a little bit deeper? Like, what are they differentiating? As a fifth grader, they would not understand what differentiating means. How would you put this in a simpler way? And I'm so glad you guys are participating. Think about it. Just simplify, simplify, simplify. The schismatic in-group out-group differentiation, in which internal cohesion, relative peace, cordiality, and devotion to the in-group are correlated with a sense of hostility towards out-groups. Let me give you the answer. What does it say? Schismatic in-group out-group differentiation. What does this mean? That inside the group are treated differently than outside the group. What is happening inside the group? Internal cohesion, relative peace, cordiality, devotion. What is all of that? It basically means you like the people in your group, right? And are correlated with the sense of hostility towards out groups. What does that mean? That you don't like the people outside the group. Okay, now let's go. I mean, I should, if you have like names like let's go and something, please tell me your actual name. Otherwise, it becomes like a bit weird for me. Okay, so religion is something which is your inference, right? This could be religion, this could be, I don't know, casteism, this could be 100 different things. But when you say religion, and when you have, gone to that jump in your mind that this means religion, so let's say when the right answer is, for example, casteism or something like that, you will not be able to pick up on the right answer because you will have pigeonholed yourself into religion. So it's really important to stick to what the passage is saying and not add a single word outside of that. Okay. The differentiation is thought to have a hostile bias against the out group. Yes, good, but that is one part of it. There are two parts in this. Okay, Karan. Okay, all right. I want to ask you guys: is it because they are tight within the group, they are hostile to people outside the group? Is there a cause and effect relationship? Is there a cause and effect relationship here? Okay, Karan, you think it's a cause and effect relationship, and I'm so glad that you mentioned this. It brings us to a very good teaching point, and I'm really happy that you are participating so nicely. Okay, hello. All right, Aditya, you think there isn't a cause and effect relationship? The rest of you, is there a cause and effect relationship? Can we say that because they are tight within the group, they are hostile to people outside the group. Can we say that? Yes, no, maybe? I'm going to wait for 10 more seconds. Can we say that? Right. Very good. Ankit, Shivangi, very good. So let us say what this is saying, right? Let me just put it very simply. And fantastic job, Karan, for pointing this out. Uh, what does it mean? It is as simple as saying you love your group and you hate outsiders. That is it. And they are correlated with each other. Okay, let me give you one example. All right, let me give you one example. Let us say, in a very similar sense, okay, I say that ice cream sales are correlated with drowning. Okay. It's the same way, right? Schismatic in-group program differentiation, in which internal cohesion correlated with sense of hostility. Similarly, I say that ice cream sales are correlated with drowning. Do ice cream sales cause drowning? Yes, no? Tell me. Do ice cream sales cause drowning? Or like, does ice cream cause drowning? Tell me quickly. This is pretty easy. No, it does not, right? Obviously, it does not. How does ice cream sales cause drowning? But the important thing is that they are correlated with each other. What could be the cause of correlation? Maybe it's summer, right? So, because it's summer, there are more people who go out to have ice cream. Again, there are more people who go out to the beach. And when more people are going out to the beach, there are more incidences of drowning. So, what does this say? This says that the love inside the group is correlated with the love outside the group. That is why you cannot say one causes the other. And this brings us to, like, if you guys are writing traps and making a note of traps or making a note of the session, write down this trap. It's a very, very common trap asked in both RC and CR, that correlation is not causation. When there's any mention that one thing A is correlated with B, you cannot say that A causes B. Is this clear? We cannot say that the love within the group causes the hate outside the group. Maybe it is the hate outside the group that causes the love within the group. Maybe you hate outside people so much that you have no choice but to love your own people. Right? You can't say that one causes the other. Is this clear? I want to make this clear before I move on. Yes, no, maybe. Okay, Nazim, it's clear to you. Fantastic. Great. So, what did we do in the fifth grader version? We made it very, very simple. You love your group and you hate outsiders. And this is very important overall, if you can explain something simply without changing the meaning, that means that you have understood it. So that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to say it in the simplest way possible. So that is a second tool. One is strategic pausing, second is fifth grader test. Now coming to our third tool. Okay, how many of you have seen any law series, Suits or something like that? Let me just not have. Yeah. How many of you have seen anything like Suits or, I don't know other law series? I think XLIS or something law. Have any of you seen that? Okay, fantastic. Perfect. Better Call Saul. Yes, great. Okay. So have you like come across something, where okay, perfect. All right. A lot of law series. Okay. So, like when there's like this always this one particular scene where the main character or like, the defendant or prosecutor, somebody, they are interrogating someone. Okay. And the person who they're Brooklyn Nine-Nine also, yeah. And the person who they're interrogating, they make one small slip up. Let us say that, like the witness is saying that I was near the building, not in the building. And because of that one word, you catch that person and you're like, oh, you know what? This is how we found out that, you basically win the case. Okay. So one word is enough to change the entire case. So that is what you are supposed to do when you look at answer choices. So when you look at answer choices, you're not supposed to be like, this does kind of seem like something which the passage was talking about. Great, this is an answer choice. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to become either like Harvey Specter or whoever, or Shawl, or whoever your favorite character is, and you're supposed to look at each and every single word with a magnifying glass. And if you have one word that is wrong, that means the entire answer choice is wrong. Yes, Ankit, that is why you plead the fifth. But our answer choices, unfortunately, cannot plead the fifth, so we can put them inside the under the prosecutor test. Okay, great, awesome. Thank you so much. All right, so let's go with. Oh, how perfect! We already discussed this. So, if the passage is saying ethnocentrism is correlated with hostility, and our answer choice says that ethnocentrism encourages hostility, again, word matching, ethnocentrism is talking about, it's talking about hostility. Is it the same thing or is it different? Tell me, is it A or B? If our passage is saying ethnocentrism is correlated with hostility, and the answer is saying it encourages hostility, both of them are talking about ethnocentrism, both are talking about hostility, both are talking about a connection between ethnocentrism and hostility. Are they the same or different? All right, an overwhelming number of you are saying that it is B, different. Ankit, Vikram, Karan, Aditya, Pratik, Priyansh, Elizabeth, Ahmed, you are all correct. It is different. As we already discussed, correlated means they exist together. There is no cause and effect relationship. But when we say encourages, we are explicitly saying that it is a causal claim. One causes the other. Okay, so what did we learn so far? Oh, Nazim, you said you don't know what to do when you don't know the meaning of some words. All right, we will deal with that. We are going to deal with three passages. So there will be some with complicated words. And honestly, GMAT is not testing how good you are at English. It's called verbal reasoning. It is testing how good you are at logic. So it doesn't care about, whether you know big long words or not. It cares about words like deemed. It cares about like words like correlated with, encourages, that actually show the relationship between different parts of a passage. All right, perfect. So, gosh, so what have we discussed so far? We have discussed three tools. Tool one, which is strategic pausing, tool two, which is fifth grader synthesis, and tool three, which is the prosecutor test. Now, this is something which I want you guys to take it with you. Every RC question that you get wrong is because you failed one of these three things. All right. And whenever you get an RC question wrong from now on, I want you guys to self evaluate. And I want you guys to think about which of these three parts went wrong. And that was the cause of the failure. Let us say if you got step one wrong, that means that if it would have been presented to you in like a simple one line thing, you could have gotten it correct, right? But because it was a part of this entire passage, you did not stop to completely understand what was happening. And despite knowing the meaning, despite knowing the logic, you got it wrong because you did not pause. Second, the fifth grader synthesis, the failure here is that, let us say you stop, right? But you're not able to infer the right meaning out of it. You think it means something, but it actually means something else. So that is the second point of failure. Third point of failure is that you knew the passage, you know exactly what it says, but when you were doing the prosecutor test, you were not precise enough. You made a mistake of like encourages versus correlated with, and because of that, you got the entire passage wrong. So every single answer, please take a screenshot of this, and going forward, every single answer that you get wrong, you have to trace it to exactly which point of failure it was. All right, Rishabh, you are asking if is it sound to say in every question? Correct answer is 100% correct, and other options are 100% incorrect. Absolutely 100%. This is very, very. This is. Thank you for bringing this up. This is a really important point. So a lot of times, you get confused between two options. You're like, this one looks more correct, and this one looks less correct. But there's nothing like more correct or less correct. If there are five options, four will be completely incorrect and one will be completely correct. And by becoming, Harvey Specter or Shaw or a police officer, you can find out which is the incorrect answer. Okay? All right. So this was a brief couple of drills. So in today's session, we are going to be dealing with three types of passages. One is business, second is humanities, and third is science. They're going to range from easy to medium to hard. All right. And you're going to attempt it cold. You are going to get questions wrong, and it's completely okay and encouraged to get questions wrong. And then we are going to go through the entire process. So you will see how to apply the process on all types of questions and how to practice it. All right. Great. Geography, I think this should cover everything. Okay, so you guys, these can you see these yellow points, the yellow markings? These are your pause points. So whenever you encounter a pause point, be very diligent. Okay, don't move ahead, take a pause, synthesize what this means, do the fifth grader test on this particular thing, and then move on. So I'm going to give you guys 4 minutes for this. Take notes, and after that, I'm going to give you two questions to solve. Okay? And once you're done reading, please tell me that you're done reading. It's 9:21 right now, 9:25. We will move on from here. But if you guys are done reading faster, we'll go faster than that. And yes, do not just go ahead. These are your pause points. Pause at these points, figure out what it means, and then move ahead. Okay? All the best. Let's go. If any of you are done reading, please mention that. I've also put the passage in comments that'll help you for the further answer choices as well. Two of you are done. Three of you are done. Okay. Alrighty. Think we can move on. All right. Let's do this. Drop the answer in the comments and drop it like Q1 dash whatever you think the answer is. Okay, Ankit, you think it's a B. What about others? By the way, this is an official question and it has 56% accuracy. Okay, Aditya, you think it is E. All right. Anyone else wants to give it a try before we go ahead? Ahmed, you think it is a D. Love for strings, you think it is C. Okay, all right. So we have a lot of mixed responses here. Piyush, you think it's an E as well. All right, you think it's a B. Okay, Karan. All right. Okay. All right. So we've gotten a couple of responses here, ranging from B, C, and E. Okay. Bunch of you think it's a B now. All right. Before we go ahead, I want to ask you the second question as well. Question two. This is an inference question. Gaurav, I'm assuming you're talking about question one. All right, solve this and please label it as Q2 dash so I know what's happening. Nazim, that will make everything too tiny, so I've put the question in the comment itself. Sorry, the passage in the comments itself. Okay, so, all right. Couple of you think it's a C. Ahmad, you think it's a D. All right. Okay, 10 more seconds and then we'll move on. Okay, all right. So let us go into the question discussion, the passage discussion, and let us follow the method of strategic pausing and the fifth grader technique. Okay? Oh, some of you think it's a B. Mm-hmm. All right. So we are between B and C. Oh, is that so? Uh, I have posted two comments, right? So is it inconvenient for everybody? Mm-hmm. All right. Oh, guys, please do make notes in case. Or just do one thing. Just take a screenshot. Whenever the passage comes on screen, just take a screenshot. All right. Okay. Now we will go on to the. Okay. I think best to take a screenshot in this case. Okay. All right. So let us go into looking at the chunks. So let us deal with the first three chunks. In the study of whether offering a guarantee of service quality will encourage customers to visit a restaurant or not, they found that the effect is mixed. So basically, there are two people, Tucci and Talaga, and they are doing kind of a study, right? And then they are seeing what happens for different people for higher price restaurants and for lower price restaurants. So for higher price restaurants, it's basically that if you increase the likelihood of customer selection, there's gonna be it's gonna be better, and for lower price, it's gonna be worse. Okay, that's all that there is. All right. So what does chunk 1, 2, 3 say? Tucci and Talaga, they studied restaurant guarantees. Effect is mixed. Expensive restaurant, it helps, and in cheap situation, it hurts. Clear? Nothing that is to it. This is extremely simple. Now, what does chunk 4 say? Okay, tell me this. The more you know about a service, what is the guarantee? More appealing or less appealing? Tell me, is it A or B? Less appealing. Okay. A lot of you think it is less appealing. Some of you think it is more. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Let us go into. So, by the way, if you got this question wrong, all right, two of you think it's A, the rest of you think it's B. Okay. So, if you got this question wrong, that means that your specific issue is in the fifth grader test. And you were unable to apply it and understand what the meaning is. Okay. Let us read what this entire chunk 4 says. All right. Moreover, since customers understand a restaurant's product and know what to anticipate in terms of service, they are empowered to question its quality. So, what is this saying? This is not generally true in case of skilled workers such as electrical work, where consequently a guarantee might have greater customer appeal. So, what is this entire thing essentially saying? It is saying that in a restaurant, you can judge the service yourself. It's actually less appealing. In a restaurant, you can judge the service yourself. You don't need a guarantee to tell you. But in case of an electrician, you can't judge the work. That is why you need the guarantee. So what is happening is that because like in a cheaper restaurant, because they know what the service is, they know what the product is, because of that, they can judge it. They do not need a guarantee. Right. So what happens here is that because there is more knowledge, there is less need of a guarantee. And this is something which is going to help you in question 2. Is this clear to Karan, Ankit, and all of you who thought that it was A, more appealing? Because what is happening here? Why is it that in electrical work or something there's more appeal? Because it's more of a black box, right? Just think about it. Like, in case of a doctor, in case of like an electrician, in case where you can't directly judge the output, right? At that point of time, a guarantee will make it like a little bit, you'll be calm. But when it's like very clear that, okay, we know what's going to happen, right? So at that time, the guarantee actually makes it worse. So that's why if you guys got this wrong, so it's really, really important to check that you are, synthesizing the information perfectly. Awesome. I hope that you all understood. Okay. So this is the difference between the restaurant and the electrician. Now, now we have chunk 5. What is the main benefit of a restaurant guarantee? Is it A or B? Okay, I have a couple of people saying B. Awesome. Perfect, guys. You all are right. Awesome. Great. Fantastic. What does this say? Not so much in customer appeal as in managing and motivating the staff. So, this is when the argument switched gears. So, I'm sorry, this doesn't have the paragraph structure, but up until this, there was paragraph 1, which is basically what kind of effect it has on customers. That, in case of higher price, it helps them. In case of lower price, it does not help them. But then we talk about the second aspect of it, not just the customers but the back end aspect of it, the staff aspect of it. And what it says is the main benefit is essentially in managing and motivating the staff. So this is where we're talking about the second aspect of it. So the main benefit here is actually managing staff. Great. So this is the essential pivot here. So why do guarantees help staff, which is basically what chunk 6 is saying? Why does it help staff? Yes, perfect, Gaurav, very good. There are two things here. One is that there are clear standards. So if they know, like, if it's like kind of like, I don't know what is expected of me, I'm not going to do a really good job. But when there are clear standards in place, that, okay, I need to look at 10 tables and they need to, waiting time has to be less than 2 minutes, whatever. There are such standards in place, right? So that is going to help. And second is there's going to be a structure for an unskilled job. It's not going to be like do whatever you want to, but it's going to be like step 1, step 2, step 3. This is why the guarantees are helping the staff. Okay. And yeah, by the way, do you guys see what I'm doing here? Guys, this is not one or two, both of those. They're both these reasons that actually help them if you look at the passage. And by the way, did you guys see what I did here? Did you guys see how I did the passage? Instead of just reading it, yes, Karan. Instead of just reading it, what I did is I imagined the situation happening in my head. Instead of being like, okay, the guarantee sets of clear standard structure. Okay. I sat down and I thought that, oh, you know what, oh, you're okay, like let's say if there are clear standards, so this means that wait time should be like with like an x number compared to a y number. I imagine the situation happening in my head, right? And that is what you need to do. That's called visualization of information. I'm going to show you visualization in every single passage that we do, especially in science passage. There's going to be heavy amounts of visualization. Pay very close attention as to what I'm doing, how I'm visualizing, so that when you are doing your own RC practice, you can visualize. And again, the better you visualize, the better your result and your output is going to be. All right. So, okay, Nazim, I'm glad that you brought up this point that in modern day, anywhere we go, brand name, service guarantee. Okay. Here, the thing is that you're not supposed to question what is happening in the passage. You're not supposed to be like, oh, but what if this, what if that? You are supposed to be like, okay, this is something which is happening in the passage. This is something which the passage has told us. And this is the reasoning given in the passage, right? And you're supposed to live in the world of the passage. So when you are entering GMAT, be it CR, be it RC, whatever question, you're supposed to enter in the world of the question. And whichever the facts are, you're supposed to accept the facts and you're supposed to attack the logic. Okay? All right. So, what is happening in this passage? If we just do a quick summary, there's two sides. Side one is the customer, where the effect is mixed, expensive helps, cheap hurts. Side two is the staff, overall effect is quite positive. All right. So, now, this is pretty easy question. A cheap restaurant's guarantee hurts on the customer side, but does it still help on the staff side? Yes or no? A or B? This is super easy. Yeah, it's very clear, A, right? Yes, Nazim, Shivangi, love for strings, Aditya, Elizabeth. Yes, it is A. It's explicitly told that staff benefits are helping all of the restaurants. It is saying for restaurants generally. All right. So basically, this one was like a little bit easy, but this is how you're supposed to look at the argument. These are the questions you're supposed to ask yourself so that the understanding of the argument is clear to you. All right. So now in a primary purpose question, I'm going to talk about the most common mistake made in a primary purpose question and which a lot of you guys actually ended up making. When there is an entire passage and it has two sides of it, right? It has like two paragraphs. One of the most common mistakes is that one paragraph has A purpose, second paragraph has B purpose, and the entire paragraph has a C purpose. Now, listen very carefully. If you're noting things down, note this down. One of the common traps is you take the purpose of one paragraph and you think that is the purpose of the entire passage. That is something that you're not supposed to do. You're supposed to look at the entire passage, and the purpose of the entire passage is going to be different than the purpose of just one paragraph. So, when you are only looking at the purpose of one paragraph, you are completely ignoring the rest of the passage. And this is the mistake that I do not want you guys to make going forward. Okay? So, here, what is the entire passage doing? First half is talking about the customers, second half is talking about the staff. And if any correct answer is there, if it covers only customers or if it covers only staff, that is narrow. You need to have a primary purpose which covers both of them. Is that clear? Yes, no, maybe? With this in mind, perfect, awesome. Thank you guys. With this in mind, I want you to try question one again. You're free to change your answers. You're free to keep your answers as it is. Okay. One, two, three, four. Four of you are saying B. Five of you. Nazim, Ankit, Karan, Shivangi, Priyansh. Okay. Aditya, Ahmed, you think it is a C. All right. Love for Strength, you think it is a C as well. Okay. All right. So let me ask you guys. It says examine. Let's look at option C now. Okay, Vikram, you think it is an E? Let us look at option C. It says examine the conventional wisdom regarding the effect of service quality guarantees in the restaurant industry. What does conventional wisdom mean? Can anyone tell me? What do you mean by conventional wisdom? Especially the people who picked C. Okay, known belief. All right, anybody else? Prevailing belief. Okay, Aditya. Traditional belief. Mm-hmm. Known fact like sun rises in the east. Okay. Ahmed relation, not really. So conventional wisdom is something which we already knew as a fact. Right? We already know that okay, something is a fact, something is already happening. There is some knowledge about certain X thing that people have. All right. So what does option C say? Let's look at option C. Yeah. Oh, I had an option. I'm sorry, I made you guys type. Yeah, tell me this A or B. Does it mean what researchers found in a study, or does it mean what most people already believe before anybody studies it? A or B, quickly. I think we already discussed that. Yeah, right. It is a clear B, right? It is not something that researchers found in a study. Now, if we look at this, yes, perfect, perfect. If we look at the entire passage, do we know what the conventional belief is? Let's look at the passage. Yeah. Do we know what the prevailing belief is? Do we know what was happening before the study? Yes, no, maybe. Do we know like what people thought before the study? Tell me quickly, did we know that? No, right? Correct. Love for strings, Gaurav, Ankit, Pratik. Perfect. Absolutely. We don't know. What is the study telling us? The study is simply telling us the findings of the study. Sorry. The study is simply telling, the passage is simply telling us the findings of the study. Right. That's all that the passage is telling us. Right. So, exactly, Karan, there is no background info. So, if we look at option number C, which says to examine the conventional wisdom regarding the effect of service quality guarantees, can we pick that as the right option? Can we actually pick that? Can we say that, okay, you know what, this could be the right option? Not really, right? Because this talks about the research, not the common belief before any research. Perfect. So here, when we are doing the prosecutor test, when we are doing it and it says conventional wisdom, you need to go back that wait, we have absolutely no clue about the conventional wisdom, and hence option C is out. Okay, great. You're going back to E, Aditya. All right. Let us. Okay, let's do this. Okay. So if we look at question one again, right? And I think two people selected E. So E says consider the impact that service quality guarantees can have on the service provided by the restaurant. Now, E does not talk about customers. What does he talk about? Only the staff, only on the service provided. But what is happening in the entire passage? We're talking about both the things. We're talking about both the customers and the staff, and that is why E is wrong. And this is like again, this is the common fallacy, right? That the discussion was not just about the level, the impact of the quality guarantees on the service provided. That is only the second paragraph. If you choose this, you are essentially ignoring the first part of the paragraph. Sorry, the first part of the passage. Right? You only what about what customers think? Right, so option E, that is why, is out. And by the way I approach this is the way that I want you guys to approach answer choice analysis as well. You need to look at an answer and you need to do the prosecutor test and you need to figure out why is this answer wrong. And only once you do that, after that you move on to see like, okay, why is a correct answer correct? But you have to be very, very like full of criticism. All right, you have to be very, very on your toes here. All right, so the correct answer is actually option B. A lot of you, I think, selected option B after we did passive discussion, and fantastic, guys. So, option B discusses the potential advantages and disadvantages of service quality guarantees in the restaurant industry. So, that talks about both the things, the advantage and the disadvantage. So, we talked about the advantage for expensive restaurant, disadvantage for cheap restaurant, and in the staff side, we talked about the advantage of clear standards. Is this clear to everybody? Primary purpose question. What is the common trap in a primary purpose question? How we use the prosecutor test, and because of one word we had the answer wrong. And 605 to 655, this is an easier question, but this particular question had a 54% accuracy. I'm answering Nazim's question, difficulty level. Okay, great. All right, now, so this is basically taking into account both the sides of the passage. Okay, so if you picked E, you basically looked at the ending more than the beginning. If you picked C, it because it probably conventional wisdom sounded comprehensive and it seemed related, right? But that's not what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be related, it is supposed to be exact, precise. All right, so the key takeaway is primary purpose is equal to full passage. All right, now let us do question number 2. The more you know about the service, the guarantee is, we've already discussed this, but I want to drill this in. The more you know about the service, the guarantee is it more appealing or less appealing? A or B? Hmm. Yep. Perfect. It is less appealing. So when you know the product, you don't need a guarantee, because then as humans we become suspicious. And why is he giving a guarantee? I know how the product is does that mean that something is wrong somewhere? Right? Electrician, you need a guarantee. Okay, this is what is established by the passage. Now, try question number 2 again. With this in mind, try question number 2 again. And just write Q2 dash, whatever your answer is. Okay. Ankit, Vikram, Karan, Gresha, Nazim, Rafa Strings, Ahmed. Perfect. All of you are correct. And I'm really happy. We are very nice, very high percent, very high accuracy. The answer is C. Right? It's exactly what we discussed, that such guarantees are gonna have like, yeah, where are we? Yeah. Such guarantees are gonna have like more knowledge, less appeal. That is our basic rule, and that is what C says. For those of you who selected D, you got it backwards. Who selected D initially, you got it backwards, right? And that's why it's really important to look at exactly what the passage is saying. And if you try to visualize the information, that will help. So, by the way, if you got a question wrong because you were not able to do strategic pausing, make sure that you physically, put these markers, these yellow lines in place, just like I did, so that you can know that, okay, at this point I have to stop and I have to look at what was happening in the passage. I have to internalize that information. Second, if you are unable to, if you did the pausing but you are not able to infer the exact correct meaning out of it, at that time try to learn visualization. Try to spend time with that part and try to visualize in your head. Try to make a movie in your head, like what exactly must be happening. All right. And if you are able to visualize and if you're able to do strategic pausing, but if you are not able to do prosecutor test, when you are looking at answer as analysis, at each and every single word as you are reading it, underline. So that will make sure that every single word you're not missing out, and make sure that it matches the passage. Okay, so this is how you diagnose and treat. All right. Okay, before we go ahead to our next next passage, I want to ask you guys what. Yes, our questions are going to be more and more difficult. All right, what did you learn so far? I want to hear from some of you, and then we are going to go to the next passage. We've been together for 52 minutes, 40 seconds. What did you learn so far? I wish I could just start calling people out. It'd be so much fun. I like this. Trust your Harvey instincts. Yes, absolutely. Pause and read. Fantastic. I would not say, I would not say that purpose of the paragraph is a trap, but yeah, like, oh yeah, actually, yeah, purpose of the passage is different from purpose of paragraph. Yeah, actually, good, very good. Okay. How to break, simplify, and look for trick words. Fantastic. Simplification, breaking. Awesome. You're back after 30 minutes. All righty. Okay. All right, now let's go to the humanities question. I'm going to give you guys 4 minutes for this. This is like a little bit harder. Make sure you take notes. These yellow points are your pause points. Stop and pause as soon as you're done. Tell me done reading so that I can move ahead. Take screenshots of this because if I put it in the comments, it's like a little bit messy and I don't know how to fix that. So yeah, take screenshots. And if you're liking the session, please press the like button. Okay, awesome. See you in it's 9:54. See you by 9:58. 4 minutes, okay? Okay. Are any of you done reading? Done. Okay, Ankit. All right. Okay. Try to get it back, Nazim. And again, as I said, this is going to be difficult. Last question was pretty easy, but this is going to be much more difficult. Okay. All right. Great. Awesome. Let us go to the questions. And again, when you're answering it, do Q1 dash. All right, Aditya, you're saying it's a C. What about the rest of you? I'll give you guys 1 to 2 more minutes. Ankit, you think it's E? Okay. Vikram, you are at a C. Mm-hmm. Nazim, you're saying E. All right. Pratik is at a C. Love for strings, you're at a D. Okay. All right. Very interesting mix of answers here. Hmm. 10 more seconds for the rest of you, and then we are out. Okay. Question one, Karan is saying E. All righty, righty. Okay. All right. Let's go to the next question. By the way, this is going to be 3 questions back to back. Okay. And just mention Q2 dash. No, but just see gender ideology. That is, that is, can I highlight it from here? Okay. Just look up gender ideology. I'm sorry. Okay. Ahmed is at A. Pratik is at a D. This one is turning to be divisive. Huh? I think I should shush for some time. We have one A, two Ds, one E. Okay, one more A. By the way, this one has like a how much? Like a 36% accuracy, by the way, on GMAT Club. Question two. Okay, Ankit, you're at a B. All right, this is also I think divided between A, B, D, E. Okay. 10 more seconds and we go to question 3. Okay. You're also at an A. Freshia. Okay. Question 3. It's like I threw you guys into the deep end. Like we were playing in the kiddie pool and then like go 6 feet water. Seven feet is coming, Nazim. That'll be the last one, science. Okay, Vikram, I think it's E. We have strings E as well. Okay, Aditya, A. Ahmed, E. Pratik, E. Nazim, E. Bunch of you are saying E. Okay. Karan, you are saying A. Ankit, D. I mean, that should not be the logic, Nazim. Too easy to be true isn't the case. Sometimes it is too easy. Okay, all right. This is going to be fun. You guys have been divided on every single question here. Okay, what did you think? Did you guys think this was 7 feet water? Nazim, you sure think that? What did you think of this passage before I go on to discuss? Thank you. No, Mr. Beast. Yeah, yes. It feels like I'm. What if I just leave the session now? Leave you guys on a cliffhanger? Just kidding. Okay, all right. Let's go. So, let us look at the first chunk. Okay, what is chunk 1 saying? That although. Yes. Okay. Yes, I'm not too special. Okay. So, chunk 1 is saying that although the industrial union organizations embrace the principles of non discrimination and inclusion, the role of women within unions reflected the prevailing gender ideology of the period. A lot, we're going to deal with this, but before dealing with simplification of this bunch of words, I want to ask you guys what happened first? Were unions formed and after that there was a gender ideology, or was there some kind of gender ideology that already existed and after that unions were formed? Okay, Nazim, you're at a B. Vikram, you're at an A. Okay. No subtitles on the face. All right, what about the rest of you? A or B? It was already discrimination. So Ankit, you're at a B. Love for Strings, Gracia at a B. Vast Ninja at an A. All right. All right. So, what is happening here? All right, let us see. What is the answer actually is B. Let us look at everything line by line. Yes. It says, although the industrial union organizations embraced XYZ principles, the role reflected the prevailing gender ideology of the period. When you say the word prevailing, what does that mean? Prevailing is something which already existed. It prevailed for a long time. It existed for a good amount of time. And after it is existing, after that you have the unions. Okay. So when you say prevailing, it means it already exists. So now if we basically simplify what this sentence is saying, so whenever you look at all, yes, very good, Vikram, already there. So whenever you look at the word although, that means that in the entire question, or also in the entire sentence, or in the entire two sentences, there's going to be two different parts. Okay, there's going to be one particular ideology or one particular idea, and then there's going to be another conflicting, contrasting idea. So what is happening here is that earlier there was some kind of ideology, after that there were some kind of effects. Okay, so this entire thing says that, okay, so this entire, I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening. Sorry, there's some technical issue that went. Okay, all right. So this entire thing is saying that the industrial union organizations, they were there, they were embracing the principles of non-discrimination and inclusion. So let us say we have one organization, okay, ABC, whatever. They say that, oh, we are very inclusive, we don't discriminate, we are really, really awesome. But the role of women within them reflect the prevailing gender ideology. So this was 1930s, 1940s. So at that point of time, women were thought to be in a particular way. And even though these organizations are saying that, oh, we are very inclusive, we don't discriminate, the reality is that in these organizations, women were kind of treated in the way that the prevailing gender ideology was. Okay, we can't say for sure discriminated because that's going to come ahead. We cannot make that inference and jump here. All right. So this means that the unions were not all that good. Okay. All right. Then chunk two, which is FOS. I don't know how to pronounce. I just say F's, which is F's main claim. Elizabeth, perfect. Elizabeth's main claim. She argues that women were marginalized by union bureaucratization and by separation of unions from the community politics from which industrial unionism had emerged. Again, complicated, but let me know this. As unions grew and became more formal, did women's role increase, decrease, or stay the same? Tell me. Is it A, B, or C? No. Did it increase, decrease, or stay the same? Okay, Nazim, you think it's decreased? Rest of you? Okay, Pratik, you think it's a B? The true high. Okay. Ankit stayed the same, became worse, Gresha decreased, Vachana decreased. Yes, absolutely correct. What is it? The answer here is decreased. What is it saying, right? Basically, early days women's importance was maybe 70 out of 100, right? They were at the forefront, they were organizing, they were doing things. But as the union started growing, women's importance started dropping and it eventually became close to zero. That is what the entire thing is saying. What is it saying? That women were marginalized by the bureaucratization and by separation of them, right? So as more bureaucracy started happening, after that it became lesser and lesser and lesser. All right? The role became lesser and lesser. This is what the argument is saying. Now, let answer me this. Were women important in helping unions get started? Is it A or B? Okay. Most of you are saying A, Karan, you are at a B. All right. What is it saying? Fourth stresses the importance of women's contribution in the development of unions. So, Karan and the rest of you who think it's a no, this passage is actually saying that the women's contribution was important to develop unions. Right. It is saying that the contribution was vital. Without, if women would not have worked at a community level, union might not have gotten out of the ground. So let us say women's contribution was 80 out of 100. There's an importance to get things going. And also, did you guys notice one thing that I'm doing here? That for every single thing, I'm trying to assign numbers as much as possible. So as I said, right, if you are not getting the fifth grade test, it means that you're not visualizing. So one way to visualize is think of it as a movie going in your head. Another way to visualize is assign numbers. So women's contribution, let us say, at this point of time was an 80 out of 100 in getting things going. Okay. All right. Tell me what happened now. Karan, it helped to get development started. Women helped in making these unions. That is what F is saying, right? What is F saying? Why is this happening to me? Yeah. F is saying that stresses the importance of women's contribution to the development of unions. That is what it's saying. So that means that women were important to get it started. All right, chunk 3B. Let's go. Women helped build the unions. What happened to the women who helped build them? Okay. Love for strings, Vikram, you think it's a B? B. We already covered it, right? They were pushed aside. So they helped build the house and then they were kicked out of the house, right? That is what is happening according to F. So, what is Fo's story? That women helped build unions via community level work. The unions grew powerful, and after that, women became irrelevant. Remember this word, irrelevant. They were basically forgotten. All right. So at the beginning they were vital, and at the end they were forgotten. So this is the end of paragraph 1. So again, very very important when there are two views. In this passage there are two views. So it is really important to track which view is whose. Okay. So you have to be very very clear that this is Fo's story. Okay? All right. Now, let us go to Gabin. What is Gabin saying? Did women have equal power, some power, or zero power? What is she saying? Or he saying, whoever it is. It's Nancy, it's a she. Tell me. What is it? Did they have roughly equal power, some power, or zero power? Are you guys replying B to this or like to the previous question? Okay. I think I got 2 B's so far. What about the rest of you? All right, so this one B. Okay, thanks for the clarity. Okay, Vikram, Nazim, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, Gracia, Karan, Aditya, B. Fantastic. What is happening here? Gabin is saying that listen, they have some power. Okay, they don't have the majority of the power, by the way. Majority of the power is still with the men, but they are saying that they still have a political space. So they have like maybe 10 to 20% power, right? Male domination is there. Males are controlling almost everything, but they do have a space. They do have some power. That is Gabin's main claim. Okay. Here, remember, what did Four said? Four said that women were irrelevant, which means the power was near zero. But Gabin says, listen, it was small. Gabin is not saying that they had a lot of power or they were equal. Gabin is saying the power is small, but it's not zero. It is 10 to 20%. And that is the difference. Can you appreciate the difference between Four and Gabin's views? Yes, no, maybe. Can you understand that? Quickly. Okay, I'm assuming it's yes. Okay, awesome. So now, perfect, great. So now let us go into chunk 5. What is happening? Gabbins shows that despite the union's tendencies to marginalize women's issues, working women's demands were a constant undercurrent within the union, and she stresses the link between the union's women activists and the wave of feminism that emerged in the 1960s. Again, too many words, too complicated. Let us simplify this. Okay, let us say that women had a problem. Let's call the problem X. Okay, women had X problem. Either it was getting equal pay, either it was the ability to vote, whatever. There was some issue there, right? Kept ignoring those issues. That X issue did not go away. That X issue is always there, and because of those X issues, there was a feminist movement in the 1960s. All right, that is essentially what the entire thing is saying if you simplify it. And again, what did I do here? I assigned an issue. I visualized in my brain that, okay, there's an X issue. Okay, we're supposed to do that. All right, so what is Gabin's story? Gabin's story is that men dominated 80-90% of the power, but women had some power, 10 to 20%. The power did not go to zero. They had some issues, and they were like that was an undercurrent. Undercurrent means that it was always there, but in the background. And because of that, it fed into the feminist movement. So Foe's ending is sad and Gabe's ending as hope. Now I want you guys to pay a lot of attention, okay? We are at the next slide. So whenever a passage has four views, you are supposed to track these four things. Take a screenshot right away. One, what do they agree on? Two, what do they disagree on? Three, what does only the first person say? There are certain things that the first person will touch upon that the second person will not even go to that topic essentially. And four, what does only the second person say? You get this right, and you will be able to answer majority of the two view questions that are thrown at you. Clear? Any doubts here, guys? And I'm going to give you 10 seconds to take a screenshot. Any doubt here? How to make this tracking table thingy? Okay, awesome. Great. So, what do they agree on? Fantastic. What do they agree on? A, B, C. Quickly, guys, tell me, what do they agree on? What do F and G agree on? Perfect. They agree on B. That is what we discussed so far. That they agree that men dominate and women were marginalized. Perfect. That is the common ground that they have. What do they disagree on? This is a very obvious option, but yeah. This is also a B, right? The only point of contention that they have is where four thinks its influence is near zero, and where Gabin thinks that influence is small but not zero. All right, this is a disagreement. So now, be very very clear about this. You know this, you can basically get all the questions. What they agree on is that men dominated unions, women were marginalized. What do they disagree on is if women have any power. Four says no, Gabin says small. And this is very important. What does only four talk about? Women helping build the unions. Gabin did not talk about how women had built the unions at all. Gabin did not touch upon that at all. Gabin was talking about something else. What does only Gabin talk about? Women being the demands, the X demands that were there and that led to feminism. That is what only Gabin talks about. Okay, so you know this, you get all the questions correct, which will be posted on this. Okay, is this clear? Is this entire? This is the entire passage in a snapshot. Is this clear to all of you? Yes, no, maybe. And do you realize that in case of like tracking of two views, this is how you are supposed to be doing it. All right, great. Thank you, Vikram, Karan, Nazim, Gracia. Fantastic. Thank you. All right, now I want you to try question one again. What do they agree on? Think about the table. We have already thought about what they agree on. Think about that table. Giving you one quick look at the table, take a screenshot. It's basically a cheat sheet. Use it to answer the question. Passage is in the comments somewhere, but you only need this to answer. By the way, just letting you know, we talked about what they agree on is men dominated unions. Women were marginalized. Both say that women played a subordinate role. Okay, great. All right. So earlier, some of you said E and C, but the answer here, which I think later on, once I made it very obvious, you guys got it. It is a D. That suggests that women in industrial union organizations played a subordinate role. That is what we decided. That is what we inferred from everything that they were saying. Now, let me look at the wrong answers. Okay. And don't worry about getting this wrong. This has like a 55% accuracy. So don't worry about that at all. So some of you said it was C and E. All right. So C, argue that who can tell me why C is wrong? Who can tell me that? Yes. My poker face sucks. Yeah. Who can tell me why C is wrong? Come on, give it a go. C says that both of them argue that women played important roles in the establishment of unions. Very good, Ankit. Very, very good, Ankit. Very good, Aditya, Karan, Nazim. Fantastic. Only four is talking about the fact that women played important roles in establishment, not Gabin. Right. So you cannot say this is basically talking about the union. So this comes into what is in the intersection, right? I think it's a Venn diagram, right? So both of them have to say something which is in the intersection of the Venn diagram. And for those who chose E, that the interests of women workers were incompatible with those of unions in general, we can't say that. We can't infer that uh, very, very clearly, because if they were completely incompatible, then why did they help in starting them up? Why did they help in actually building it up in the first place? Right. So we can't say for sure that it is incompatible. And there is nothing mentioned in Gabin's studies or in four studies which says that it is incompatible. Okay. So this is so the answer here is actually C, which you already discussed beforehand. Wait, sorry, wait, what? Okay. I'm sorry. I think I made a mistake here. Sorry, I just got. Yeah, sorry, answer is D. D, D. Sorry, sorry, sorry. My mistake, my mistake. D, D. Sorry, I got a bit distracted by my dad coming in the room. I'm so sorry, my bad. Okay, so both of them play a subordinate role. Okay. All right, now let us try question number two again. And again, this has like a 36% uh, accuracy rate. This is a difficult one to think about it. Shiv, we are going to be taking a Q&A at the end of it. So, yeah. Okay, so Karan is at a D, Nazim is at a C. All right. What about the rest of you? Think about everything that we have discussed so far. Nazim, you changed to A. Okay. Aditya, you are at a D. Okay, so we got two D so far. Anybody else? Okay. All right. So where is gender ideology mentioned? Let us look at what is happening around it. Okay. All right, Gracia, you think it's an A? Okay. What is happening here? Hmm. Sorry. Let us go back to the passage. Okay. All right. So, what do we know about gender ideology so far? We know that there were the CIO, the Congress of Industrial Organization. They said that, oh, you know what, we like non-discrimination, we like inclusion, but the role of women, as we know in the entire study, it is marginalized. Like, they say that they are inclusive, they say that they are not discriminating, but in reality, what is happening? In reality, they are discriminating, right? In reality, in unions, they are not offered positions of power, their issues are not taken seriously. All that is happening. And what does it say? The role of women reflected the prevailing gender ideology. So what can be said about the prevailing gender ideology at that time? Somewhere there would be some ideology that, okay, women are maybe inferior to men, or like, women are not that good, or something like that, right? Because of which, despite them saying that, oh, you know what, we are non-discriminative, we are inclusive, there is still like this kind of behavior that there is there. And the word although, it signifies hypocrisy. It signifies that they are saying that, oh, you know what, we are super inclusive, but in the back end, what is happening is that they are extremely non-inclusive. Okay. So if we go to the question again, just give me 1 minute. Yeah. So if we go to the question again, what does the question ask? That what can be inferred regarding the gender ideology? All right. Look at this again, and now let me ask you a couple of follow-up questions. Okay. It says it prevented women from making significant contributions, and we're looking at option A. According to F, did women make contributions? A or B? Did they make contributions? Tell me. Option A. Did women make important contributions? Oh, very importantly, in the establishment. That is super important. How did I gloss over that? In the establishment. Not after the union was formed, but did they help establish? Okay, Karan, Ankit, Gracia, Aditya. Yes. Naseem, yes. They absolutely helped establish that. That is what F story is. That when they started, they were contributing so much. They helped so much in establishing the union. They helped build the house. And then they were essentially thrown out of the house, right? Then they were made irrelevant. So is option A correct? Can we say that this option is correct? That it prevented women from making contributions to the establishment of unions? Can we say that this is correct? Is the option correct? Yeah, it's not correct, right? That's not what happened. The contributions were vital. So option A goes directly against what is stated in the passage. Now, let us look at option B. It says it says the gender ideology resulted from the marginalization of women in industrial unions. Okay. Resulted means what? It means there's a cause and effect relationship. All right. What does that mean? Because there were women in industrial unions, there was marginalization. Right? That is a cause and effect. So which came first? Was there like a ideology that was already there and women were marginalized because of it? Or because women were marginalized, there was gender ideology? Is it A or B? And we've already discussed this in discussing the passage. Absolutely perfect, guys. Yep, gender ideology already existed, right? It was the prevailing thing. Prevailing meant that it already existed. Now, so option option B says that gender ideology resulted from marginalization of women in industrial unions. Can it be correct? Is option B correct? based on this? Okay, Nazim, you think it's incorrect. What about the others? Is it correct or incorrect? Great, Ankit. It's incorrect. Yes, very good, Gracia, Karan, Vikram. Yep, absolutely. When the ideology is prevailing, the ideology causes the marginalization. The marginalization does not cause the ideology. Hence, option B is incorrect. Great. Now, let us go to option C. It had a significant effect on the advancement of women's issues within industrial unions. Did gender ideology affect what happened to women's issues inside the unions? Tell me, A or B? Grisha, is that A to this question? Oh, there's a lag? Okay. A. Yes, they were disregarded. Okay, Ankit. Okay, Vikram. Yes. A. Aditya. Yes, yes. Perfect. Yes, absolutely right, guys. This is what this entire passage is talking about. The entire passage is talking about what has been happening in women's issues. The industrial union is saying that, oh, you know what, we are very good. We are fully inclusive. We do not discriminate. But their actual thing reflects a gender ideology. Actually, what is happening is that women are being marginalized. Actually, what's happening is that even though they helped set it up, they are being kicked out. Actually, what's happening is that their issues are being suppressed. Right? Yes, you should have. So that is what is happening in option C, which is why option C is the correct option. And that is something which both of them are describing. Both F and G are describing two different aspects of what is happening in there. Okay? And the first sentence tells us that the cause of it all is the gender ideology. So, what happens in option D and E? D says that the primary tenets for non-discrimination and inclusion. That is what a lot of you told, right? But what does it say? Yeah. What is it? What does the first sentence say? The first sentence, let's just go back to that. Can we go there? Yeah. The first sentence says that this is something which they had thought of initially, like they wanted to be, they wanted to be non-discriminative or whatever, but gender ideology was something which prevented them from being that. So gender ideology is actually the opposite of what was happening. Does this make sense? The non-discrimination was basically the unions, not the ideology. The ideology was opposite of that. They were acting against each other. Is that clear? Because a lot of you selected D. Is it clear? Yes, no, maybe? Guys, option D. And if we come to option E, E says that its effects were mitigated by the growth. What does that mean? That the more you grow, the more gender ideology effects go down. But that's not what's happening. What is happening in this? You remember the chart? That as earlier they were at 80, then as it grew, it went down to 0. Right? So because of that, E is also not the case. Okay, I'm sorry for a bit of a confusion. I hope this is clear. So the answer is C, which is that gender ideology had an effect on women's issues in the unions. Okay, so if you picked A, you had like a step 2 failure where the passage says the contributions were vital and they did contribute. So you did not understand what it meant really properly. If you picked B, you reversed cause and effect. And if you picked D, you got confused that they were acting in opposite directions, not together. Okay? All right. Now, try question 3 again. Think about everything that we have discussed so far. And then try this again. Shiv, this is going to be my last session. So Gaurav and Karan, you think it is A, and Ankit, you're saying it is D. Okay. Anybody else? Shiv, you're saying E. Vikram, you are saying A. Aditya, A. Nazim, A. Okay, so the majority of you are saying A. And the correct answer is actually A, right? If you look at the passage, what's happening is that first it starts with a statement that, listen, these people are saying this, but they mean something else. And then they are giving Fo's view, and then they are giving the other F's view, and then they're giving G's view, right? They're just, the author is simply presenting the two views that are there in the argument. It is not weakening a generally accepted argument. Ankit, you thought it was weakening. Now, the reason that it is not weakening is that there is nothing that was generally accepted. Nothing was said that, okay, this is something which people actually accept, that, okay, this is, an argument that is thought of, and then we are weakening it. We don't know what is generally accepted. All we know is that this one person, like, all we know is that these unions, they said that they are okay, they are like also good, non-discriminative, but we don't know if people accepted it, right? So we cannot say that it was a generally accepted argument. All that is happening is like just two people, they are presenting their own views, and those views, yes. Oh, fine. Ankit, I am so proud of you. You are able to actually see at what point you are failing, at what point you need to work on, and all of you should do this. Whenever you get a question wrong, look at which step you failed at and then work on that particular step. Fantastic. Great. So here what's happening is that the author is not picking a side. Author is simply presenting two views. Okay, that's all that is happening. E says it's tracing the development of an ideology. We are not concerned about how the gender ideology was formed. We are concerned about the effects. After it was formed, how it affected women. Okay, so the answer here is A. All right. So before we go to the next question, tell me, what did you guys learn from this particular passage? This was a doozy. This was like a little bit harder than what we had discussed so far. But yeah, tell me what you thought about this. And I really hope you remember that entire part of when you're tracking two views. Super important, what both views agree on, what they disagree on, and what only one of them have talked about. Yeah, what did you learn? Before we go on to the hardest passage of the day, tell me. And if you're liking the session so far, press the like button. They don't. So Karan, see, they do twist words, but it's not about them, it's about us. It's about, if we are following the process, if we are doing a good job in all of that, we will be able to come out of any traps. Two views and no generalization. Yeah, this is also like, Ankit, and you might want to see, and like, to everyone who has not seen the first session, do see the first session. There we touch upon the basics of RC, on when there are two views, how to determine which one is the author's view, which one isn't. Pausing would have been helpful. Okay, great. Awesome, Vikram. So going forward, do strategic pausing. And we have the yellow guardrails for a reason. But you sit, you pause, and then you move on. Do you guys want to take like break of 2 minutes or so, or do we want to go to the next passage? If you don't say anything, I'll just not give a break. Okay, I think we can go to the next passage. All right. Oh, first we'll quickly discuss what we did so far. We did strategic pausing, stop at each divider. What did I just read? Fifth grader test. Can you put it in the simplest word possible and then the prosecutor test. Does every word match the passage? Okay. All right. It is 10:42. I'm just putting this. Read this, but also I'm going to give you guys a little bit more time so that you can also take a little break. It's 10:42. I give you like 5 minutes for this, so you can take a small break also, and you can read this also. That's 10:47. We'll be back. Okay. Okay. So two of you are done. What about the rest of you? Ankit and Karan, you guys are done. Let's wait for maybe like 1 more minute and then we will go ahead. Angit, I think if you're a science student, you'll find this easier. Okay, let us go. Question one. I have put the passage in here. Just do Q1 dash so that. That should be very easy for you then, Ankit. Now I want 100% in all options. Okay, tell me. Sorry. The five asteroids. Yeah. Researchers have discovered that all but five observed asteroids obey a strict limit. Do this. I'm sure you guys are going to find it hard now. How much accuracy does this have? 57%. Okay. Quickly, chalo, let's go. Okay, Aditya. Say it's a C. Anyone else? 30 more seconds and then we'll move on. Okay, Ankit, you're at a C as well. Nazim, you're at a C. What about the rest of you? Sumok C. Okay. Either there are a lot of science students or I completely overestimated the difficulty level of this passage. Okay, so most of you think it is a C. Okay. All right, let's go to question two. Line 16 is, I'll just quickly tell which line it is. Line 16 is this line. The evident conclusion that asteroids larger than 200 meters are multi-component or rubber piles, that is the line that you're supposed to question. Okay? Righty. Technically, we are all business students. Which would call into question the conclusion? Okay, we got 1D so far. What about the rest of you? I'm not sharing the right answer. I want to hear from more of you guys. Okay, Aditya, you think it's a D as well? I've only gotten two responses so far. Quickly. Okay. Got one more D. Anybody else? Okay, moving on. All right. Okay, now question 3. This is the final question of this session. Okay, all good. Engineering skills put to use. All right, question 3. And I want more of you to participate. Okay, Vikram. Think it's an A. By the way, this does have how much accuracy? Yeah, 34% accuracy. Vikram, A is for question 3, right? Samok, you're at a B. Karan is at a B. Okay. I'm going to wait for 30 more seconds. Okay. So you're one A's and two B's so far. Okay, multiple B's I have. Aditya, Gracia. All right. 10 more seconds and we move on. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So, by the way, you guys did perform very well on this question. Like, it was much better than I expected. So, kudos to you all. Congratulations. All right. I'll just quickly explain the chunks in that case. What is chunk one? It says that when asteroids collide, some collisions cause an asteroid to spin faster, others slow it down. It's simple. Like, let's say one asteroid is spinning at 10 rotations. Now, after collision, it spins at either 15 or 6. Okay, it sometimes speeds up, sometimes slow down. Now, what does chunk 2 say? That if asteroids are all monoliths undergoing random collisions, the graph is showing a bell shaped distribution. So, when you look at monolith, imagine a bowling ball in your head, okay? And imagination like this is going to make it really easy for you. So, if let's say 100 bowling balls get hit randomly, what's going to happen is that there's going to be a bell curve, right? Where there's going to be the slow ones at one end, the fast ones at one end, and mostly like a bunch of them are going to be somewhere in the middle. And is there a limit to how fast the bowling ball can spin? There is no limit, right? It's one solid piece. So it can also spin really, really, really fast and nothing is going to happen. That is what chunk 2 is saying. Now, chunk 3 is saying that if asteroids are rubber piles, however, the tail representing the very fast rotators would be missing because any loose aggregate spinning faster than one few hours will fall apart. So, what is going to happen? So, for all non science students out there, think, and even for the science students, think about it, that let us assume that you have a bunch of tiny rocks, okay, tiny pebbles, and you're putting it in a plastic bag. It's a bit of a weak plastic bag, okay, and then you're just spinning the plastic bag around. So normally when you start spinning at a very slow speed, there is going to be limited force, there's not going to be a lot of problems, a lot of issues. The plastic bag will hold. But once you spin faster, what will happen is that the entire plastic bag is going to get ripped because the plastic is not strong enough that when you spin it really fast, it stays in the bag. Sorry, yeah, it stays in one bag, and the all of the gravels, they basically fall out, right? So we have been told that there is one point S. All right, there's one speed S. Above that speed S, the bag is ripped. So in case of monoliths where we had like a simple bell curve, here we do not have the very fast rotators, right? If you look at the last part of it, it is all red, it is gone. Why? Because the faster it goes, it cannot stay. All right. So in case of rubber piles, you will not have the faster end of the bell curve. Is this clear? Guys, is this clear? Yes, no, maybe? Does it make sense? Does the analogy make sense? Okay. So I see an asteroid. Great. Thank you. I see an asteroid spinning faster than S. Can it be a rubber pile? Can it be the bag of gravel? Rubble pile? Okay, Karan, you think it's a yes. What about the others? By the way, S is that speed after which it will last. So if I'm seeing an asteroid that is spinning faster than S, do you think it can be a rubble pile? Okay, Ankit is a no. Anyone else? Aditya, you are at a yes. Gracia, you are at a no. Okay, Karan, you changed it to a no. Yeah. So the answer here is a no. That's what we discussed, right? If we have a plastic bag which spins that fast, then the bag would have already ripped. There would be nothing left to see. But if it is something is spinning that fast, if you see an object that is spinning at 2s speed, that object has to be a bowling ball because a plastic bag would not survive at that speed. The plastic bag would essentially break into a million pieces. So if anything is spinning faster than S, that means for a fact, for sure, it is a monolith. Does that make sense? Guys, especially those who selected A, Aditya, Karan, does it make sense? Great. Now, if you see an asteroid spinning at a speed slower than S, which one is it? Is it definitely a monolith, definitely a rubble pile, or it could be either? Tell me. A, B, C. Okay, Aditya, Ankit, Vikram, you're at a C. I'm assuming and hope. I'm assuming it's for this question. Okay. So you guys are all right. It could be either. We can't tell, right? Because when you talk about spinning slowly, a bowling ball can spin slowly and a plastic bag can spin slowly. Slow speed tells us nothing. Versus a fast speed tells us that it cannot be a plastic bag. Okay? Is that clear? What? Okay, we have a bit of a technical issue here, guys. I don't know, for some reason I can't show the rest of my slides. Give me 1 second. Really sorry, guys. Somehow there ends up being a technical issue in every single one of my sessions. Okay, so we have almost solved the issue. While we are here, just tell me what have you learned so far until I get the PPT on stage. And if you have any random doubts, you can ask me. It'll take 2 minutes. Tell me, what did you learn so far? Let's utilize this time. And any RC doubts, CR doubts, GMAT doubts. Okay, we are back online. Thank God. And I'm so sorry for the kerfuffle. All right. So we already discussed that if you see an asteroid spinning slower, it could be either, you can't tell. Okay, so what are the rules? Very good, Vikram. Visualization helps in simplifying the passage. Fantastic. Okay, all right. So what are the rules? I think Ankit also described it in a very good way. So if it is, uh, yes, Ankit, yes. So if it is above S, it means it's a monolith. No exceptions. If something is going very, very fast, more than the speed, that's a monolith. If it is below S, it could be either, and we can't tell. Okay, so what does now we're back to like chunk four, back to the passage. Researchers have discovered that all but five observed asteroids observe a strict limit on the rate of rotation. So what does that mean? That if you look at 1,000 asteroids, 995 spin below S and only 5 spin above S. So, what can you tell me about those 5 based on what we discussed so far? Those 5 that spin above S. What can you tell? What can we infer about them? Is it A, B, or C? Tell me. Could they be both? Could they be rubble piles, or could they be like definitely monoliths? Okay. Ankit, Aditya, you are at a C. Vikram, you think it's inconclusive. Anyone else wants to give it a shot? What are those 5? What have we discussed so far? That if anything is above S, it means it's a monolith. No exception. What do we know about this? Is that these 5, they are spinning above S. So what does that mean? That means that they are definitely monoliths. Right? That is what that means. Basically, based on our rule 1. Now, what does chunk 5 say? The exceptions are, by the way, if you know this, you're going to be able to answer the question, the first question. Okay? We'll go there, but yeah. Chunk 5, what does it say? The exceptions are smaller than 200 meters in diameter with an abrupt cutoff for asteroids larger than that. So all of these 5 spinners, they are smaller than 200 meters and all of them are monoliths. Okay. So among those asteroids larger than 200 meters, how many spin above S? How many asteroids larger than 200 meters spin above S? Is it a few? Is it half? Or is it zero? A, B, or C? Nazim and Aditya, you think it is A. Ankit, you're saying it is a C. Rest of you, 10 more seconds. Think about this. By the way, if you get this question wrong, that means that the problem is in the error is in the fifth grader test kind of thing. Okay. Vikram, Sumuk, Ankit, you are both correct. As you are all correct. Aditya, Nazim, you are both wrong. What does it say? The exceptions are all smaller than 200 meters in diameter with an abrupt cutoff for asteroids larger than that. And we have been told that there are 0 asteroids who spin above S. It says abrupt cut off. That means that there is a line. If you are spinning above an S, you are not one of those asteroids. All right, that is what this entire thing says. Because what are we talking about? Exceptions. And exceptions to what? It says that all but five observed asteroids observe a strict limit. So, except for those five, all other 995, they are spinning below S. All right, we had already discussed that before. Perfect. So that means not a single asteroid spins above S. So basically, what is the data? Let us make a table. In under 200 meters above S, we have five asteroids. All of them are monoliths. Below S, in under 200 meters, we have many asteroids, which could be either. Over 200 meters above S, we have zero asteroids, and below that could be either. So, as Ankit very rightly mentioned, it cannot be large and fast. Okay, now try question one again. Though I think a lot of you got it right the first time, but just try it again. What can you tell about the five asteroids? Are you still confused, Aditya? Do you want any clarification? Okay, so Mark, you think it is a C? Great. What about the rest of you? Come on, quickly. What do you know about these five asteroids? We've already discussed it in the table. And we've repeatedly referred to it. Perfect. Aditya, Karan, Vikram, Sumukh, you are all correct. They are all monoliths. Why? Because they are faster than S. Right? That was our number one rule. I think you guys did not select the others, so we don't even need to understand the others. Okay, so this was it about the first paragraph. Now let's talk about the second paragraph. It says the evident conclusion that asteroids larger than 200 meters across are multi-component structures or rubble piles agrees with the recent computer modeling, which also finds the transition at the diameter. Very complicated, not required so much complication. Let's simplify it. What is it? Basically, if there's a very large asteroid, there's going to be a rubble pile. So if something is very large, it means it's a plastic bag full of pebbles. It is not a bowling ball, and that is what computer models say. And the dividing line is the 200-meter degree. Sorry, is a 200-meter range. Now the entire paragraph is going to explain why. So, this is chunk 7, which is explaining. A collision can blast a large asteroid to bits, but after the collision, those bits will usually move slower than the mutual escape velocity, and over several hours, gravity will reassemble all but the fastest pieces into a rubble pile. So here you will hear about the concept and the word escape velocity for the first time, and that escape velocity was what was asked in one of the questions. Okay, but even if you don't know what escape velocity means, even if you're not a science, you're not from a science background, you can still answer this. What is this saying? It says that when, like, let's say a large asteroid gets hit and it shatters into multiple pieces, what happens is a lot of pieces fly outwards, right? But most of them will come back, they will come clump together. Now, if we were to visualize it, okay, if we were to visualize it, how can we visualize? Let us say a teacher got a bunch of students to a park, and suddenly like something happened. Maybe there was like a firecracker or something like that, or like they saw an ice cream guy or whatever. Okay, and they started running. Okay, they saw like, let's say, an ice cream truck, making sounds, and then they started running. Okay, now in case number one, let's say they're all running. Okay, in case number one, the teacher has a very loud voice. The teacher is like, "Stop! Come back right away." So what happens is that even the student who is at the edge, that student also hears the teacher. And here we are living in a dream world where students listen to their teachers. So that time the students come running back. That is the effect of strong gravity. So the green line that you see, the green circumference, that is the line where the student can still listen to the teacher. And assuming that when the student listens, like the he or she comes back. Okay. Now let's look at another alternative. When you have a very quiet teacher, so which is weak gravity, again you have the ice cream truck making noise or whatever, and as soon as the ice cream truck makes noise, all the students run. But what happens is that like the teacher is saying in like a very weak voice, that teacher says, "Oh guys, come back," and the students which are there, they cannot hear the teacher. So how will they come back? They have already escaped the hearing range of the teacher when the teacher shouts this. So because of that, what happens is that all of the students escape, right? And then there only the teacher remains, which is basically a monolith. Does this make sense? Yes, no, maybe. We should cut this and put it in physics class also. But yeah, does this make sense to you guys? Tell me. Yes, no, maybe. What exactly is happening with the asteroids? Yeah? Ankit, I'm assuming you know the concept already. Others? Vikram, yes, okay. Others, do you know? We don't know. Oh, okay, very well brought up, Aditya. These 995, we're not talking about those. We're talking about one asteroid when it gets hit. Yeah. So, this is the entire concept of what is happening, right? So, when we talk about escape velocity, escape velocity is basically there's one gravity that is pulling that's basically the teacher's voice. Escape velocity is how fast the kids are going. Now, depending on how fast the kids are going versus how strong the voice of the teacher is, there are some who are going to come back and some who are going to go out. Okay, so if I look at this, all right. So I answered this. I'm so sorry I answered this, guys. So when a large asteroid shatters into pieces and pieces fly outwards, what happens is that some of them come back and some of them escape. So what is chunk 7 saying? That a collision can blast it into bits, but after the collision, these bits will usually move slower than their mutual escape velocity. What does this mean? Is that, let's say, let's say if their velocity is whatever xyz, but because the teacher's voice is stronger, they're going to stay with the teacher. They're not going to go out. They're not going to go to the ice cream truck. Okay. And what will happen is that over several hours, gravity will assemble all but the fastest pieces into a rubble pile. So out of 100 students, let's say 2 to 3 students, they wanted ice cream. They loved it. So they completely ran away. We cannot do anything about them. But the rest of them, they're going to stay to the teacher and they're going to later on, like, make a pile or whatever. Okay. So that is essentially what is happening here in chunk number 7. Okay. All right. So now this is like an important part, that because collisions among asteroids are relatively frequent. By the way, did you guys understand why we brought up escape velocity here? Right? Like, to figure out, like, who comes back and then who goes, in what situation does that happen, right? That is why we brought up escape velocity. Now we are talking about chunk 8, that because the collisions are relatively frequent, most large bodies have already suffered this fate. A little bit out of context, but when you read the word most, again, this is important for both CR and RC, what is the mathematical term that should be in your brain? How do you put most mathematically? Again, a little bit off topic, but really important for you if you are doing verbal. I mean, you are doing verbal, so yeah. What does most mean mathematically? Can anyone tell me? I'm going to wait for 20 seconds and then I'm going to move on. More than 50%. Yep, got a fantastic. I got my answer really quickly. Lovely. When you hear the word most, automatically what should be put in your head is that it's going to be more than 50%. Very good, Aditya Samukh. All right. So, right. All right. So, what it basically says is that collisions happen a lot because the asteroids have been around for billions of years. Right. So, because they have been around for so long, so, they would have been smashed, they would have been hit. And, like, because the gravity is high, they're like, pretty loud teachers. There have been pieces that are pulled back. That is why more than 50% of asteroids, they are rubble piles. Now, conversely, most small asteroids should be monolithic because impact fragments easily escape their free gravity. Now, let us assume that a very, very small asteroid gets smashed, right? Like we talk about a teacher with a very tiny, tiny, quiet voice. That means they have very less gravity. So, even if like there is a very, very slow student, but because the teacher is so quiet, the student cannot hear the teacher properly, and that's why everybody goes away. And the teacher is left alone. So, that is basically like if it's a very small asteroid, more than 50% of them are going to be monolithic. They're going to be small. Okay, make sense? Okay, I think this is also clear that if like a small asteroid shatters, or like very few of them are actually going to come back. Okay, so to summarize paragraph 2, which is the why. So in paragraph 1, we saw what happens. In paragraph 2, we saw why it happens. Why do we have that if you are large, you cannot be fast, right? If it's a large asteroid, it's a loud teacher. You smash 100 kids, run out, most kids here, they come back. That is your rubble pile. In a small asteroid, you have a quiet teacher, you smash 100 kids, run out, but because nobody hears, they all escape and you're left with just one teacher, which is just the monolith. Now I want you to try question 2 again. I mean, most of you got it right already, but still try it again. Which of those would question the conclusion mentioned? Okay, Aditya, you think it's a D. Just I'm going to wait for just 10 more seconds because you guys had like fascinatingly high accuracy on these questions. I don't want to waste a lot of time here. Okay, Sufyan, you think it's a D. Nazim, Karan, D. Ankit, D. Fantastic. It is a D, right? If a large asteroid is moving really fast, it's moving at a speed greater than s, that will question the conclusion, right? Because a plastic bag of grovel cannot spin above s. That is something that it cannot do. But to break the conclusion that all large asteroids are plastic bags, you need a large asteroid which is fast. So you need both. So if you look at A, it's not large. B, it's not large. C, it's large but not fast. D is both large and fast. So it basically, it every single thing is checked out. Okay. All right. So now we are going to go for the very last question of today's session. And this is the question which most of you got incorrect. So I want you to really think about it, really think about the teacher example, really visualize each and every option which is given here, and then pick the answer again. Really think about the teacher example and then think about this. Why did the author mention escape velocity? I'm gonna give you guys 30 seconds. Think about it. Okay, we have two A's, one E, one D. Okay. Think more. Think, why did I mention the teacher example? Think about that example. What was it trying to prove? Okay, Ankit, you are at E. I think that was your initial position as well. All right. Let us look at the actual answer. So, when we look at the teacher example, right? If you were to think about it, like, uh, you have an asteroid that is like collided with another asteroid. So you would think that, okay, why are they staying together? Why are they even, like, even after a collision, why are they still there? The explanation is the escape velocity. The explanation is the fact that because the teacher's voice is so loud, because of that, even if the fragments are like a little bit fast, they cannot get out of it. Right? Because of that, the large asteroids persist after collision. So, and actually, A and B is also something which is so loud. The loud teacher actually explains. Okay, what does a loud teacher explain? Is it A or B? I'm sorry, I'm just lagging a little bit. I'm buffering. Yeah, tell me, what does a loud teacher explain? Is it how fast the kids walk back to the classroom, or is it which kids come back at all? Okay, we have two B's, one A. Anybody else wants to give it a try? Okay, all right, awesome. All of you are correct. It's a B. We don't care about how fast the kids will walk back to the classroom. Let's say the teacher gave a huge shout. Okay, there was one guy who was very close, one kid who was very close to the ice cream truck. And that kid was like, oh no, I need to go back. The kid will go back. The kid will go back very slowly. The kid does not want to go back, but it will still go back slowly. Or some kids are like, oh, cool, my teacher's calling me. I'm very happy. And that kid will go back fast. But it does not matter. Why did we explain the escape velocity concept? To figure out which kids are coming back versus which kids are going away from the sphere of influence. Right? That was the entire part, that was the entire reason for mentioning escape velocity. So, escape velocity cannot tell you how fast it will reassemble. It could be really fast, it could be really slow. We don't care. We have used escape velocity to explain why a lot of the asteroids that are there, they are clusters. Okay, now A says that the tendency for asteroids to become smaller rather than larger over time. Some of you selected that. Has it said that asteroids get smaller over time? That is your inference that you drew. It has never been told that. Let us look back at the uh, question, sorry, at the passage. It never ever said that over time this is going to happen, that is going to happen. A time relationship has never been mentioned. The only thing that is mentioned is that asteroids are relatively frequent. That is why most large bodies have suffered this fate. That is it. That is the only mention of time. So we cannot say that with 100% certainty. Sorry. Yeah. We cannot say that with 100% certainty that they will become smaller rather than larger over time. Okay, we are only talking about smashing and reassembly. So again, prosecutor test, this should be out. Then B. B says the trap with which they reassemble when they do not escape. That is again, we already talked about that. That is not the answer. We don't care how fast it reassembles. We only care about which kids come back. Then option C, which is the frequency with which collisions happen. Again, that has nothing to do with escape velocity. Option D. Has anyone picked option D? Yeah. Option D says the rotation of asteroids smaller than 200 meters in diameter. Again, now pay attention here. This is one of the very common mistakes that are made. Sometimes in detail questions, one of the traps is that the detail is in paragraph 2. Paragraph 2 is talking about escape velocities, which is talking about the teacher. That is what it's talking about. Paragraph 1 is talking about asteroids smaller than 200 meters in diameter. In paragraph 2, we have not even touched the asteroids smaller than 200 meters. So when you are doing detailed questions, it is very, very important to know that, okay, which paragraph are we talking about, which point are we talking about, even within a paragraph, because there's multiple concepts that go on. So it's really important to keep track of it, right? So rotation rates of asteroids smaller than 200 meter have nothing to do with escape velocity. All right. E says the tendency for large asteroids to persist, which means to survive after collision, which is exactly what the answer is. Okay. All right. So tell me what you learned, and then we will move forward. I don't know why I was buffering a lot on this question. If you have any kind of doubts at all, let me know. Any doubts, any questions in this particular question? Why it is E? Are you clear about that? Ankit, you can't really do that, unfortunately. But you can use the techniques that you used in science to ace humanities and business, and it won't matter what GMAT throws at you. Last question success rate. Let me just check it out quickly. 34%. It is a tough one. Okay, Gaurav, you face issues in primary passage where you focus on if the author is simply describing the events or getting to the conclusion. Yeah, that is one way to do it. Specifically for primary purpose, like our last session is discussing that in a lot of detail. It's like, telling you a lot that, okay, what exactly is the author's view versus someone else's view and why the author has said it. I think you'll be able to get a lot of insights from there. I have when people or authors talk. Okay. I think Ankit, that will also first session is fine. First session has talked a lot about primary purpose and people or authors talk. But if you are doing this, if you are keeping a track on like that, what we did in the humanities question, that this is this person's view, this is that person's view, that is something which is super useful. Don't worry. I have asked you guys very, very difficult questions, very, very difficult questions. I think I'm like properly tired. Yeah. Mm. But you guys did very well. I really appreciate, your dedication. I really appreciate your participation. And I mean, this is going to be my last session ever before I start an MBA. I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss you guys, and you guys really helped me with a very good last session because of your participation. So thank you so much for that. Sumuk, it's not about number of passages. You need to track accuracy. If you're getting a good untimed accuracy, so ideally get like 80% in medium and 60 to 70% in hard. 60% is good enough. If you are getting that, then you are good to go. And just make sure that you follow everything end to end so that there are no inconsistencies. Uh, Gaurav, I'm going to ISB. I wanted to stay in India. Ankit, my GMAT score was 715, V90, Q82, DI84. I'm a doctor, so my quant has been like little bit weak. Yeah, the focus one. How to stay in touch? I'm not going to be associated with EGMAT anymore after that, but the team in EGMAT is amazing. The approach that we have, the mentorship, everything is absolutely awesome. So if you have any questions at all regarding anything, you can just go to this email. Okay. How many minutes can you spend reading it? Again, like you should front load your time, so like 4 minutes at least. Now, after this session, so we have learned the techniques. So ISP start date is April 11. So we have learned all of these techniques. Okay, what did we learn so far? We learned the fifth grader test. Then we learned the prosecutor test. Then we learned strategic pausing. Then we learned visualization, assigning math to things. So now you need to practice. So go to Neuron, start with easy question, then medium, then hard. Make sure that you get untimed right, and make sure that for every single question you diagnose step 1, step 2, step 3 what you got wrong, okay, and make notes the way that I made notes. Do that, make notes and practice it on every single question. And if you get stuck in a particular type of question, EG Maths free trial is really good. It really helps cover all of the questions in extreme detail. So Karan, I think I would recommend Neuron, like essentially OG questions. They are a very good practice. And if you are doing OG questions properly and if you're doing it the way that it is designed, and if you're able to diagnose what point you are missing in, that is going to be something which is super, super useful. And you're going to get there. And yeah, if you get stuck into any particular question type like primary purpose, inference, anything at all, so we also have a free trial that covers it. So that will be nice. You can try it out. Great, thank you so much. If you guys like the session, please press the like button. And yeah, I'm really happy. I'm genuinely really happy I had my last session with you guys. You guys have been so, so, so wonderful. I'm going to miss that. And I really hope that today you guys got something out of value. I hope that this wasn't just, dead air. You use these techniques, you ace your exams. I'll be very happy. What was the difficulty level? Oh, it was proper difficult. It was quite difficult. My verbal section. I think RC was very difficult. I really got like difficult RCs, but I think these techniques help. So I think I'm a kind of person who works in a very structured manner. Like instead of doing it, just intuition based, I think like, okay, step 1, this, step 2, this, step 3, this, very step by step, very process oriented. So that's why, I fit in that way with AGMAT. So that was pretty good. So you guys can do too. Thank you so much. Thank you, Karan. Really appreciate it. Okay. Thank you, all of you. You do the process, you do it very, very well. You are going to get there. And if you are a part of EGMAT, if any of you are, then what you can do is that if you make a spreadsheet of like what exactly you're doing, what exact point you're stuck in, and then you share it with the team, they can help you out in figuring out what exact part of the process you are breaking in. So that can be useful if you want. I used to do that a lot when I was in EGMAT team. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. If you have any other questions, I'm available for 20 more minutes. If you have any other questions, any GMAT related questions, anything even non-verbal related, non-verbal related, you can ask me. Otherwise, I think we can call it a night. Website, Neuron. Let me just share the link with you real quick. Yeah. Share the link with you. You'll have to contact the founders directly. Take the GMAT, score fantastic, and then reach out to them. But no, I really hope all the best to you guys. Content for the spreadsheet, yeah. So we have 3 steps, right? We have the first one, that is strategic pausing. So you need to mention that exactly, like if in case of like an entire, what is happening to my brain? Yeah, in case of an entire passage, let's say you like paused on one part. So then you basically write down that part and then write down what your inference of that part was. So that is one part of it. And it does seem like a bit of work, but once you do it on like 5 to 6 questions, it will be like very simple for you to figure out what's happening. So wherever you have basically strategically paused, at that time, write your 5th grader analysis. So basically your notes, right? And then on questions, this for the entire passage. And for every single question that you have, for every single option, you basically do why you are going to be rejecting that option. That is something that you need to do. And for every option that you select, I mean, you're going to select one option only, why you're selecting the option. So a very important part of this will basically show how good you are at prosecutor test. So what will happen is that when you are sharing your notes that, okay, this is what my thing was and this is what I inferred. Based on where all you are pausing, we can actually see that, oh, this is your problem isn't properly strategically pausing. Maybe you are pausing too little, maybe you're pausing too much. That's what we'll find out. Second, based on your inferences, what you wrote beside the strategic pausing, we will find out if your fifth grader analysis is correct or not, which means did you find the meaning or not. And based on your answer as analysis, we will be able to find out that are you doing the prosecutor test properly. So even if you are doing it on your own, you can just build this out at home and you do it, and it's going to be incredibly useful for you. It's like a new way of doing RC. So on also what was I going to say? I was going to say something about error logging. So basically, this is oh yes, yes. So when you error log, so this is one way of error logging essentially. So if you error log, so at that time you when you make a mistake, you're not just making one mistake, you are making two mistakes. The first mistake you're making is that you thought that the right answer was wrong. So you eliminated it for the wrong reasons. Second is that you thought the wrong answer was right. So you had a wrong logic behind that. So those are the two things that you need to keep in mind. Okay. Gaurav, it is a difficult section, just understanding the question. I don't remember all that much, but I remember that it was quite difficult. I spent a lot of time on like one question at the very end, and I think it turned out that it was an experimental question. So yeah. When I try to note the points, I write small parts, which misses a few points. And if I write it, takes very long. Okay. So what you need to do is look at, review the session and review the kind of notes that I took. You don't need to write like, schismatic in group, out group, differential, blah, blah, blah. You need to write what it means. Take the entire thing and then just synthesize what it means. Okay, you're stuck at verbal VAT, you follow 2.5 minute rule. Okay. So a lot of people, so whenever let's say you're stuck at a plateau. Okay, this is very, very important. Okay. Not just in verbal, but anywhere if there's any topic where you're stuck in a plateau, the first thing that you need to do is that you need to differentiate. Is it that you're not able to do the concept, or is it that you're not able to do the time? A lot of people think that it is timing, but actually it is concept. And so what you need to do is that for CR, go and do untimed questions, untimed medium and untimed difficult questions. If your accuracy is not like an 80/65-ish, that means you need to go back and do those topics. If your accuracy is there, but then you are not able to do it in a timed setting, that's a different problem. For that, like what you need to do is you need to make sure that you follow the process. So if let's say your untimed accuracy is really good, untimed you're able to score fantastic 80% hard, but in timed setting you're not able to do that, then do it topic wise. Like let's say topic wise, just pick up assumption questions, and then after that just solve assumption questions in a timed setting. Assumption questions have a particular process of doing that. You can see it in our CR session also. So if you're only doing assumption, right now when it requires the active cortex, well, you require the active brain to figure out, okay, what exactly is happening. When you do the same question multiple times, then it will become spinal, it'll become muscle memory. So everything, all the process you'll be able to do very fast. So that is what you need to do. So best diagnosis will lead to best treatment. Okay. How much time in total per one set and questions? Just try your best to keep it like at like 1.51 or something like that. But honestly, it depends from person to person. Like in my case, my RC was a little bit stronger, so I could do it in a faster manner and I could give more time to CR. For some people, they are very, very strong in CR and they can afford to give more time in RC. So it is something which is very personal to you. So the way that you kind of figure it out is something which we call the tact time concept, where you look at like out of all of the correct answers that you have in CRRs or wherever, how much time did every correct answer take? And that is the ideal amount of time for you. But the most important thing is that in the for the first part, the passage reading, that needs to take the most amount of time. The better comprehension you have, the better your following answers are going to be. Hmm. How was it since I got Q82? So, okay, for cons, I'll tell you one mistake that I did that I do not want you guys to do. Okay, so I knew that I was bad at. So I was doing everything, and probability was at the very end. By the way, I'm like a doctor, so I haven't done quant in like years and years. Okay, so I knew that I was like bad at probability, but when I got a question like a question wrong in mocks, I just look at the question or look at the solution and then just move on. So when I actually ended up getting a probability question in the exam, I was not able to solve it. What the ideal approach should be is that your foundation need to be really really strong. So let's say that you know that you're bad at probability. Go back, do the videos, do the modules, complete it perfectly, do it on time, make sure you have great on time accuracy, then make sure you're very good at it in a time setting. So it's a three-layer thing. A lot of people treat GMAT as like a one or two-layer thing, but it's a three-layer thing. Layer one, concept and videos. Layer two, untimed questions, and layer three, timed questions. So if anything is breaking, you start at layer one. Make sure that your layer one is solid before going on layer two and three. And yeah. So I think they were like slightly difficult at points of time, but yeah, you never know. I do not know about this. I'm sorry. I do not have a lot of ideas here. So, but the way that, okay, again, this is like a little bit out of context, but the way that I decided is that I looked at the outcomes that I wanted in my life, like in the next 10 years where I wanted to be. And then I saw that to get there, what is the best MBA college for me? So basically, I did top down thinking. So I figured out that, okay, for my specific purposes, I looked at I looked on LinkedIn at successful individuals who are from my field, and I saw that okay, ISB was someone that had helped them with that success. So yeah, that's how it proceeded from there. That's how I decided ISP. Basically, I did a lot of LinkedIn research. Gaurav, I don't remember actually how many incorrect I got. I do remember that I got two incorrect in verbal and ended up getting a V90. That's what I remember. I don't remember how many I got wrong in quant and DI. Okay. Any other questions, guys? I'm here for 15 more minutes. Any questions on RC? Did you like today's session? Mm, awesome. Thank you. Okay. All right, then. Thank you so much, guys. Practice. Have a great. Okay. Every time I say bye, I get one more question. Okay. What would be the ideal time per question? So again, as I said, it depends on your personal tact time. The Your goal is that you should be finishing every section comfortably, and you need to basically have an equivalent accuracy in beginning, middle, and end of the section. That needs to be the goal. That is the ultimate timing goal for you. Okay. So for everybody, for anyone who's getting the GMAT, this is the ultimate timing goal. Beginning, middle, end, equal accuracy, where there's no time pressure. So for that, anything for some people, let's say, you finish CR very fast in 1.5 minutes, you can give more time to RC. For some people, you give more time to RC than CR. So when you are practicing questions, you aim for around two, but then you see where it goes from there, and you only look at time after you have solid accuracy. As I said, timing is always a result of accuracy. 90% of times when students say that okay, they have timing issues, essentially their accuracy issue. Whether untimed accuracy is also not that good. So you first need to focus on that. Okay. Again, depends on your personal outcomes. Whatever you want, you can look at successful people from ISB versus from abroad, and you can see which one works with you better. Okay, so Nikhil, I would recommend you first of all work on foundations. Oh, by the way, we have CR videos as well. You can work on foundations, you can work on using videos, you can take our free trial, whatever you want, but do those videos first. Then do on time topical practice. Just let's say pick assumption questions. Only do assumption questions untimed. After that, make sure that you do first easy, then medium, then hard, untimed. After that, you add time pressure only on assumption questions. After you have done that, once your accuracy and assumption is solid, then move on to the next question type. Don't try to do everything timed from day one. And make sure, like, so there was a student of mine. I work as strategy mentor in EGMAT as well. There was a student of mine who had this sticky note in front of his computer that, just ace the question, nail the question, whatever. I told him to remove it. I told him to just do one thing, follow the process. Once you have learned the process, follow it for every single goddamn question. That should be your one goal. So once you follow the process, there is no way that your accuracy is not going to improve, but do it the way it is designed to be done and follow the process. Okay. Yeah. So first, I'm telling you that you are supposed to figure out whether your accuracy issue is untimed or timed. So I would recommend you to do a mixed set of questions untimed first to figure out that exactly what the issue is. And let's say that your untimed accuracy and assumption is, let's say, 40%. So then you need to go back and do the assumption video first, or like assumption modules first, then do assumption question untimed, then do timed. But let's say that your assumption accuracy is 80% untimed, then in that case you're not supposed to go back and do the videos. Then you just start doing assumption questions timed, but only assumption questions timed, and following the process. That is what you need to do. I hope this is clear. It's a little bit ambiguous, but I hope it's clear. Once you do it like that, once you do it in a structured way, I honestly feel like verbal is the easiest to score. You can really like score very easily. I'm from Ahmedabad. Not sure about the relevance. Okay, any other doubts? Or I shall go. Okay, all the best, guys. I'll just quickly share the link to our platform as well. So if you want to check anything, if you want to learn more, you can just have a nice little free trial. Mm. Okay, all right. Okay, have a fantastic, fantastic time. That's my third time saying goodbye. Okay, all right. Okay, bye bye, and do practice.